One, I thought the guys handled this week really good, not just in the winning, but what we had on our plate this week. They had finals all week. Being able to handle the finals, the weather, the pushing back of a game, senior day, graduation, Mother's Day. You couldn't have drawn up anything any better. And then the whole thing with Gunner on the mound and with a strikeout. I think that was just great for him and great for all our seniors on senior day. So we got good pitching. We only gave up one 3-run inning. Of course, it's a 5, but I refer to anything from 3 on up as a 3-run inning. And we did give it up, but we were up 16-1. But that giving it up still upsets me. But we were able to pitch for the most part throughout the weekend and stay away from the 3-run inning. Played good defense. And then the one thing we did, I thought, which was good, was win in different ways. We had to beat a guy on Friday night that's going to be a top 10 round draft choice. He had very good stuff that night. There's only one way you're going to beat him. You're going to have to beat him by being just as good, if not better, on the mound, which we were. Parent and Burke didn't give up a run, and then we were able to get 2 stolen bases, a sac fly. And then they tried, I think, to defend the squeeze one time and end up throwing a wild pitch or a pass ball, which gave us a second run. And then we were able to beat a very good arm 2-0. And then from there, the next night, pull away, separate ourselves. And then I think the one good thing that our hitters are doing right now that we haven't done all year is they're finishing innings and they're breaking open a game and delivering what we call the big lick. And we haven't been able to do that. We'll get a sac fly throughout the year at the bases juiced, and then all of a sudden we'll come off with maybe 1 run scored in that inning when yet we could have done some damage. Now we're hitting 3-run homers. Castle hit a grand slam. So we're starting to do some damage, which is really good. So again, a good weekend, but this weekend won't save us for this weekend. We've got to have 2 good days of practice, Tuesday and Wednesday. And then from there, move up and play Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And again, try to win every inning, win every pitch, win every game is what we're trying to do.
Will you, is it your experience players know all the scenarios, or do you even tell them, or do y'all not worry about that as far as team meetings and discussions?
No, because it's not part of our process. Jeff, bless his soul, stopped me in the hallway today to try to tell me the scenario, and I said, talk to the hand. So it was over at that point. So I we have to worry about playing baseball for us to be successful. Anytime I think you get off a process and start worrying about a result, I just don't think it's good. And right now, winning's a byproduct of them staying on the process. And that's what we have to really stay on top of is the process. So, some people are saying this is how high you can possibly get, this is how this can happen or that. I just think we have to go in there and play good baseball and then look up, get in there and plow with the old mule and look up on Saturday and, see where we're at.
Do you have a game 3 starter now?
I thought Cox did a good job. We strike out the first batter of the game and he gets on. So I think the whole inning could have been probably stopped. They got a little momentum right there, but he's pitched against a 3-run inning. He only gave up a solo home run and he kept them at bay. And right now, if you do the math, score 9 runs a game. If you hold somebody to 3, you got a good chance to win. What's been hurting us is we give up 10 runs and score 9. So right now, I like the way he started. He didn't get to start because he was a senior. He got to start because he had the best rhythm and the timing coming out of the bullpen and throwing. So we felt he was the best suited to try to get us off to a good start. Being Gunner could only go 1 inning. I know Dave asked that question last week, and if he could have got me 2 or 3, I think it's a no-brainer to start him. I just think because he quantified it as 1, even what I did with him was a little bit of a stretch, but we did it because my clock must have been different from the other clock, but we thought that, we treated the eighth like the ninth when the runner got in scoring position because I didn't want it to tie. I didn't want to have another tie on my hands. So, he came out. It took him 2 hitters to get out of the inning, which might not seem like a lot to you, but then he's got to go back out for another inning. And so I really love the way the hitters protected him and pulled away for him and gave him a little bit of wiggle room going back in the ninth. So, but I would not fear starting Cox again, Grant. We'll look at it as coaches, which we always do, and see the matchups and that. But you could conceivably see him starting again, yes, over the start he had. 'Cause I thought it was a good start. We were piggybacking people. I think we're better when we piggyback and change their eyes after they've seen somebody for 3 innings, unless they're a guy that's just really used to starting and dominating people. So we've been kind of piggybacking pairing behind Burke because Burke can't take a real big high workload if you want him for the next week. So we kind of get him to the 80 pitch mark somewhere in there, and we kind of piggyback him. 7, 8, 9 is what I really like, because if we throw good, they might just wherever you enter the game at, that guy might see you twice. But if you pitch good and stay in order, you can conceivably throw 3 innings and maybe only have somebody see you 1 time. We did move him up in the 6. Because Jack just felt that he needed to come out, so we went ahead and moved Perrin up to the 6 for that game, and then the next game we like piggybacking Schultz behind him, and then it allowed us, because of those 2 starters doing a better job, and then the other 2 guys piggyback, and it does leave you vulnerable on Sunday, but it let us bypass Cox out of the bullpen the first 2 games, which allowed him to come up and start on Sunday.
You mentioned always in the past about how teams, especially in the state, remember how you beat up on them in the past. Does that make this rivalry this weekend better? Obviously, you all remember 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, you kick somebody's dog long enough, and then yours goes down, they're probably going to try to kick your dog. And so we forewarned the team all throughout this season, not just because it's Monroe, but we've been fortunate to be successful against them, but it's because we played good baseball. So the history, they're not, I'm sure he's going to get them ready. He's very good. They're well coached. I like their coaches. I've always respected them before they even got to Monroe. So I think they're going to be well coached. One good thing is I think we hit good in that ballpark, and we've hit good on the road. So that's what we have to stay doing and stay focused on baseball and not history. But yeah, I agree with your statement. I think you have to be careful. It's just like in life, right? You treat people bad on the way up, you're probably going to get treated pretty bad on the way down. So, we've been very successful over time, and now, we're in a situation where we're a little vulnerable, so we have to be prepared for that. Yep.
Is it too soon to know on Burke if he could go on Thursday? And Dave was talking about this yesterday. Is it too early this week to start thinking about the need for a potential Tuesday starter the following week as you figure out how you're using guys this week?
Yeah, I think over the next day or so we'll start to kind of see how Jack feels, see how Brandon feels. That is my only worry going into this week with a short week, is those guys have been on 5 and 6 days rest. One from the labrum, the other one from his elbow. So that does worry me going in this weekend. So we will have to take a look at that under 2 conditions. One, for this weekend to be as successful as we can, and then I hate looking up the road, but I think you're going to have to take a peek, just to try to do everything you can to try to line yourself up and put yourself in the best possible situation. That's why I really like and glad that our hitters have really now 1 through 9 have stayed on the hitting system, because the ERAs is so bad this year in our conference. Everybody's hiding behind a 5 ERA almost. And so because of that, getting into the conference, I think the premium's going to be on hitting, which now we're hitting really good and getting physical, and we're going back to a ballpark that we swung well and that you can get physical in. So I like that because I think that you know, first of all, that's our MO. I mean, the deeper we stay, the more we're going to have to hit. And somebody's got to step up. I mean, that's at the end of the day, too. Somebody's got to put their big boy pants on and stop choking off that I'm a freshman and do something. I mean, that's the bottom line on the back end of things. But one good thing is we're not going there with a team that's hitting, you know, 230 and not physical and everything. We're bringing a team in there that are kind of clicking as hitters, and I think somebody could hit their way through this because the pitching's so bad in our league at this point in time.
Is Perrin kind of a pitcher with an arm that he could pitch 40 or 50 on whenever, Thursday or Friday, and then pitch on Tuesday?
He's a fast recoverer, which is good. Jay Schultz is a fast recoverer. Cox and the guys in the bullpens are all pretty much fast recoverers. Jack's not, and Brandon's not.
Why did you decide to bring Leon back for another year? When he left the first time, did you figure you would not see him back? And just his consistency out there, how much has it helped you?
Well, I think the first thing was when we signed him as a pitcher out of high school. He was drafted by the Twins and then ran into Tommy John. When they run into Tommy John like that, they might not come back immediately and get the innings they need. So that's what the junior college is for. So we gave him the opportunity to head to the JC. Out of the JC, at the time, UNO they were more or less wanting him as a position player. We were still, our position players were okay. We were kind of still looking for pitching at the time. So it matched up better for him to do both, to go to UNO, or not to do both, but to do a hitter. So he went there and had a very good career. We had moved on, he had moved on, and then he graduated and then started working out during the summer, actually, with some of our guys. And one of our players walked up to me one day and said, "Hey, Coach Robe, you know that Orton Veillon's not going back to UNO?" And I said, "No, I know nothing about that." And he said, "Would you guys be interested?" I said, "It's not about us being interested. It's about him being interested." I said, "He's never come in here and seen me, and he's never gone through the proper channels to be able to come see me and all that kind of stuff." And so it got close to the first day of classes, and that's when he came see me. And you know, we had a good heart-to-heart talk, and you know, he said that he wanted to finish his career as a Cajun, that he began it as a Cajun. And so we talked as coaches, and we talked to a couple of our players and asked them what their thoughts were and how they felt about all that. And all that feedback came back to us positive. And so when it did, we gave him that opportunity. And I really respect him. You know, I mean, he had a chance to put himself out there and probably get himself a big scholarship, because there was a lot of people, you know, that are willing to give him some money to play. We were basically out of money. I mean, we could give him an opportunity, and he unequivocally said, "This is where I want to play. I don't need the money." Do I need money? Yes, in his situation, but it's the opportunity that I started a Cajun and I want to finish as a Cajun. So we gave him that opportunity, and he took it and ran with it, and it's been very good for us and also very good for him too. It gave him the opportunity to stay and live at home. He has 2 children, and he doesn't want to be a deadbeat father, and he doesn't want to leave fatherless children behind, and that's the one thing I respect about him the most.
Who was your scout?
Huh?
You want to identify who was your player, who was the scout to let him know that he was available?
He just has some friends in town and a couple friends on our team. He played with some of the guys in our team. I mean, they were all together at STM.
The Sunday's game for the conference, you guys can come from behind and beat you a little bit.
Well, that's something that we didn't do good all year. That's why I was glad we were able to win that away. And throughout the year, we haven't been very good with runners in scoring position and with 2 outs. And over these last 2 weeks, we've been so much better with runners in scoring position with 2 outs and coming from behind. So yes, I was glad we won in different ways, and I was glad that we got the 3-run innings down to 1 in 27 innings. So that was good, because that's the number one priority. I'm telling you, with these hitters, the way they're hitting now, you don't have to throw shutouts, man. You just got to let the game not spin out of control like we did at Coastal Carolina. I mean, they got us 9 runs, but we gave up 11, 8 out of the bullpen. So, you know, that's the whole thing that we've got to do, is just minimize the damage. We talk about it all the time, just minimize it. But, you know, sometimes we just, you know, we'll clean up an inning, then we'll go back up, and that pitcher will hit a batter and walk 2 people. And 90% of our traffic is self-induced. That's what, you know, I really want to choke somebody over, is that it's self-induced. It's not that they got a hit. If you look at Grant's closing in Coastal, they let off the inning with 2 hits and then got another hit. But yet he closed out the game. No outs, 3 hits. Why? They ran out of hits. But what we do is walk, hit batter, and then 1 hit. The other day, they didn't get a hit in the inning, and we gave up the tie and run. How can that happen mathematically? You don't get a hit, and they tie the game. I mean, how can that happen? And you know, I thank Bab for calming me down, but I mean, how can that mathematically happen? But it's because it's a walk, a hit batter, a pass ball, 0-2 to 3-2 to a walk, 0-2 to 1-2 to 2-2 to 3-2 to a hit batter in the back of the neck. I mean, it's white line fever, right? I don't know if you know what that is. It's a guy in the bullpen that looks really good, but when he crosses that 4-inch chalk line, it's white line fever. And somebody's got to stand up, and if they hit us, they hit us. Got no problem with it. I mean, he proved that theory right there, you know. And 3 hits. Now, that looks really bad to the fans, right? I mean, it does. 3 hits in a row, right? But I'm more apt to let a pitcher stay right there because they're running out of hits. The odds are in my favor now. Not to say it's going to work out, but it did that day. But, boy, when you go walk, hit batter, man, there ain't nothing in your favor now, because it's all a guy's got to do is hit a flare down the line and clear the bases. 3 runs on a flare. Why don't you just let the first guy hit the flare, right? I don't understand how they can't understand. But, yes, yeah.
Coach, I think this is the first sweep of the weekend. How important is that to the mindset of the team?
Well, that's good, because it's not the sweep that was so important, even though it was important. The front line piece to that is that we were able to play consistent baseball for 3 games. That's important, because if you're going to win your conference tournament, right, the first 2 really don't matter. I mean, they matter to keep you maybe in the winner's bracket, but you're going to be longer than 2 games. And all year we haven't really put, 3 games together or big runs together. And now these guys have hit 6 games in a row. Now, I know Friday night looks like we didn't hit, but you're not going to hit against a guy like that. That is okay for me. The way we won Friday night is the way you have to win, the way you have to win at NCAA regional or super regional, because you're going to face a dude. When you face a dude, the score's coming down. And that guy was a dude. And when you face a dude, that's it, man. The score's coming down. So here's what you got to do. You got to make sure your guy's a dude that night. And then from there, you got to do the little things. He's not going to give you many chances. All the way back to when Alabama, again, came in here a couple of years ago, the guy was throwing 97 to 98. Okay, do the math. Look at his ERA and do the math. It's like negative 0.3. Okay, well, if you go in there thinking, you're going to be really good hitting that night, you're looking at the wrong numbers. And so Austin threw a shutout that night for 9, and we double squeezed. So that's how you have to win. You have to do one or two little things to be able to win that off a dude. And that's what I was impressed about is that, okay, we hit some balls hard, didn't have nothing to show for it. We knew he was going to be a dude. My worry was, can we match him on the other side, which Perrin and Jack did. And then Orr and Veillon's 2 stolen bases were huge because you don't have to drive him in with a hit. You get to drive him in on a sac fly, and that's what we did. Handsome didn't strike out. He hit a sac fly. And then they tried to defend the squeeze, and then they botched it with a pass ball, and those 2 runs were the difference in the game. So, but other than that, every other game, they scored almost 8 or 9 runs. And so the hitters have really put us in a good position, man. We just have to, again, it's the walks and the hit batters. That's what it is at the end of the day. That's what's leading to the 3 runs.
I know Monica's been back there more often lately, but I imagine last season you probably didn't have to play on Cole, playing a whole lot. He ends up being your everyday catcher.
Mm-hmm.
This season, arguably maybe
Flipped.
your number 3 catcher going in
Yes.
for him to be there for you when needed. How important?
Well, I think it shows, who he is, because that's a tough thing to have happen to you, right? And I think every season, that's why, every season is different because kids' roles can change in a season. Last year, he came up to the front of the bus, and he was almost driving the bus, right? Catching every inning. And then this year, he starts out at the back of the bus and then works himself back up to the middle of the bus when Toro goes down, and then kind of sits in the middle of the bus. And so I really respect him because it's a tough thing to do. It's easier to do it the other way, where you've been in the back of the bus, middle of the bus, and all of a sudden now you're at the front of the bus to end your career. He conceivably ends his career back to the middle of the bus. And so I think the way he's handling it, the way he's continued to stay working and doing his job, and understanding that, sometimes it's not because he's not playing because he's not good enough. A lot of times it's because for us to set the lineup the way we need it, if Spears, he affects the DH. And because Handsome can play first and he's just a catcher, what's tough is he affects what we do with Danny, because Danny's got a torn labrum. We really don't want Danny in the outfield, so Danny has to stay at first. If Danny stays at first, then of course, that pushes Handsome behind the plate. So I think he gets it. Does he like it? I don't think so. I've talked to him many a times, and players that are in those situations, and I tell them all the time, we want you to perfect your role, but don't accept your role. I don't want him to accept he's a backup catcher. I want him to want to be the catcher. The only thing I need him to do right now is perfect his role. This is what it is. Perfect it. You don't have to accept it. And I think when they understand that, they don't pout as much, because it's okay for them not to accept their role. I know you hear this from coaches all the time. I want him to accept his role. I'm different. I don't want him to. I want him to perfect their role, not accept it. And then that way, I think it brings the pouting and the moping down, because he can deal with it, because internally he ain't happy, right? Don't fool yourself for 1 minute. That guy wants to be catching every day. So I want to let him have those feelings. The only thing I don't want to do is have those feelings turn into pouting, moping, pass balls, strikeouts because you're mad. I'd rather him deal with that and get it on the table and say, it's okay. I'm not going to accept being the backup catcher. I don't want you to. I just want you to perfect it. And so that's what we've asked him to do, and he's come in and talked to me, and he's done a great job of that. And I thought he had a great senior day, and hopefully, you still never know what's going to happen. It's going to be hot here pretty soon. That conference tournament, if God willing, if we're fortunate to take care of our business and get into there, we could be in there for a while. Hopefully, if you are, it's gonna come back to him sooner or later. Hopefully, if we do our job.